Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, welcome to another live this morning and hope you're having a wonderful start to your day. We appreciate you guys coming on as usual. And we'll wait till you get a few notifications before we get started this morning. Let's see if I can see the scroll. Probably not. They either haven't fixed the bug or they did it on purpose, okay? So this morning, as you guys come on, I want to say a special hello to Kevin. I called him sort of our ambassador for the club, Kevin Toutant, and he's out in New Brunswick. And it's funny because he's getting folks from New Brunswick, and I think he's in Shediac, and he's having coffee with members of the Martin Clinic Facebook group, our private Facebook group. I appreciate that, Kevin. Thanks for that. And Kevin was telling me yesterday that his biggest goal is to be number one on the hit parade. And of course, we're not even doing the roll call because I can't see anyone's name anymore. But he wants to beat Brahim, he says. And guys, I think what I'm going to do is I can see the list of names after. So if you, and then what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to take the names. I know a lot of them already, and we're going to say hello to folks. But again, I don't want to miss anybody, and so we appreciate it, guys, very, very much. Okay, so with yesterday we started, I'm going to say a little series because we talked about short-term and long-term effects of sugar consumption, okay? And we talked about fatigue, short term. We talked about the immune system, short term. We talked about sleep, how it disrupts your sleep, short term. Colds and viruses, the immune system, which we said, hormones, migraines, touched all on that, okay? Now today, what I want to talk to you about is more long term, and to do that, I think it's important to give you, I love guys, illustrations, okay? Illustrations. So, I want to talk to you about what happens in the long term when you're consuming the wrong fuel. Okay? When you're consuming the wrong fuel. And I want to talk about two things this morning. Oxidation and glycation. Okay? Oxidation and glycation. Now, oxidation, free radical damage, okay? Oxidation. Now, guys, I don't care who you are. I don't care what you do. I do care, but what I mean is it doesn't matter what you do. We are all aging. And free radical damage, okay? So what I did, let me see, where did I put it? I got it right here. Okay, I like illustrations. I didn't have an apple in the house. So what I'm showing you here is a banana, okay? And you see the browning, okay? It's even black, even more than brown. And that is aging of the banana. Now, what's happening to this? And that's on the outside. The inside would have less, but still some. That's oxidation. Okay, you cut an apple in half. Doesn't take long. it'll oxidize right before your eyeballs. Okay, that's oxidation. Free radicals. And it's part of aging. You can see. One of the things I never liked about the law of thermodynamics is that I don't care who you are, you're going to go downhill. Okay? You're going to go downhill. That's the law of thermodynamics. I remember one time, more than once, but I was brought in. This is grade 13 biology, and this is a long time ago because there hasn't been grade 13 in Ontario for quite a few years, but there used to be, okay? And the biology teacher in my hometown was, at one of the high schools there, was a friend of mine. We went to school together, and he invited me, and I would do lessons, and they allowed it, and which was good, on creation, okay? And I would use the law of, the second law of thermodynamics, that everything deteriorates. Doesn't get better, it gets worse. And it goes downhill, okay? That's the law of thermodynamics. And oxidation, you see this banana. This banana used to be, had a nice color to it. Nice yellow. I don't know. Did it have any spots on it? Probably not. But look at it today. You see all the browning. And guys, you get the idea. That's what happens to our bodies on the inside. That's called free radical damage. Oxidation. Okay? Oxidation. And it's not only, left to oxygen, the same thing that you live by, can't live without oxygen, you know that. The same thing that you live by is going to kill you. It's going to rust you out. And that's what's happening to the banana. It's rusting out. Well, what is that called? That's called oxidation or free radical damage, okay? And it's just the way it is. Now, I want to explain, and then we'll get into it a little bit. And there's a lot of other factors, right? I mean, there's, when you get environmental factors and chemicals or whatever, they can age the body even quicker. But I want to focus in on food this morning, and especially sugar, okay? The problem with sugar is when you get too much of it. And too much sugar equals, everything you eat, guys, gets broken down eventually into glucose. And that goes to your mitochondria, okay? We always talk about those battery packs. And it produces energy. The battery packs produce energy in the form of ATP. You probably learned that in high school, right? Well, when you get too much glucose, too much energy, you'd think, well, it's the opposite. But too much glucose creates a lot of free radicals, and that advances oxidation. Okay, so that's one way you age. That's why I'm so big on eggs, meat, and cheese. Because they don't age you. But glucose does. Too much of it. Okay, now, I want to show you something, okay? I had to find my wife's. You see that? That's toast. Don't be toast. That's sour bread. My wife, she loves making sour bread dough. Okay? This is sour bread. And it's toasted. Okay? And this banana is showing you oxidation. The toasting, okay, is a real good demonstration of glycation. Because what glycation is, I'll give you an example. One of the reasons I love A1C, okay? I want everyone, when you get your blood work done, get your A1C done. Doctors usually do it, but if they don't, make sure they do. Because A1C is so important. And if it's high, above 5.4, you're going to glycate. You're going to glycate because sugar, and that's how they measure it, by the way. Sugar attaches to hemoglobin in your red blood cell. It hooks its wagon to hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is, right, that in the middle of your red blood cell. Hemoglobin is that sticky substance that every time you breathe, your red blood cells go through your lungs, and hemoglobin, oxygen attaches to it. But when you have sugar in the bloodstream, sugar attaches to the hemoglobin in your red blood cell, and you can measure it. It gives you a measurement of your glycated hemoglobin. And A1C is the best, in my opinion, the best test to tell you whether you have, and you're on the road to metabolic syndrome, but also the glycation. So you have oxidation and glycation, both of which, glycation sort of toast your skin. It browns it out. It wrinkles. Like when you see wrinkles, that's glycation. You have oxidation and glycation. You see how sugar is destructive? You can actually measure it. And if you're getting metabolic syndrome, anything over 5.4 in your A1C, meaning it means that you're getting on the Titanic. You don't have to. Diabetes, guys, is the last thing that happens. It's not the first thing, it's the last thing. And that's why I love A1C, because it tells you. I love looking at that. It's just like when, people put up their blood work or whatever, and they want, oh, doc, here's my total cholesterol, here's my non-HDL. I don't care about that stuff. It's all a smoke screen. What's the two most important numbers in lipids? Triglycerides and HDL. Okay? Triglycerides and HDL. And what's really, really important, like you can do your insulin, you can do your fasting glucose or fasting insulin. I like those. I got no problem looking at it. But what tells you if you're on the Titanic or not is that A1C. And A1C is a measurement of glycation. And guys, this is why when they talk anti-aging, one of the best things you can do for anti-aging is change fuels. Get off the glucose. Glucose oxidizes, and glucose gets you to glycate. It makes you toast. Okay? It makes you toast. And you don't want this toast, the browning. You know, I remember studying glycation the first time, okay? You always have to go back to the French, okay? And we've done programs on this. Remember the difference between Louis Pasteur and Antoine Béchamp? You remember the difference? If you guys want to go back and go into our library of podcasts, go listen to Two Frenchmen. That changed the world. Because there was two theories of disease. There was Louis Pasteur's and there was Antoine Béchamp. And Louis Pasteur won. He shouldn't have. But it was all about the bacteria, all about the virus, all about what was outside. Antoine Béchamp, who I admired, I wasn't alive when he was alive, but I admired his theory. His theory was your immune system, your soil. Take care of your soil. Don't worry about the bugs. Worry about you. I like that. Okay? So they're Frenchmen. Now, there's a guy named, I think his first name was Camille, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to say Louis. Hold on, let me look it up. Louis Camille Maillard. M-A-I-L-L-A-R-D. Maillard. I think that's how you say it. Okay, Louis Maillard. And Louis Camille Maillard, way back 100 years or more than that, talked about glycation. Okay? You go back. You hardly ever hear about this. You hear about oxidation. You hear about free radical damage. But you don't hear so much about glycation, although it is very important. Because you ask an orthopedic surgeon, they've seen toast in a joint, okay? They call it caramelization. I call it toast. Joints, they start brownish. Maillard, this is how he discovered it. They were looking at rib cage of a young kid, 5 years old, white, like almost sparkling ivory white. And then they looked at a rib cage, in a autopsy of a 95-year-old or whatever it was, an old man, and it was like brown. Yeah, well, that's toast. That's glycation. Okay? That's glycation. So, at the cellular level, where it all starts is in the mitochondria, especially the free radical damage. Okay? And guys, you're not going to get away from it. You can slow it down. You know, you're not going to stop aging. I don't care. You can Botox yourself to death. You're not stopping it. But you want to slow it down to the point that you can. Okay? And again, you can put all the lotions and whatever, but skin, especially skin, you got to start inside out. And for years, I've been telling people, change fuels, because that'll have a big effect not only on your joints, it'll have a big effect on your skin. Consuming sugar, and too much of it glycates the skin. And it ages by glycation the skin. And it wrinkles because what glycation does, it attacks collagen. And you need collagen for your skin. This is why I love bone broth so much. Because bone broth is the best collagen that you can get. It's the highest quality collagen that you can get is bone broth. But one way to preserve collagen, which is your matrix, which you need that collagen to be tight. And, as I get older, I got wrinkles. Okay, you see that? They're unavoidable to some extent, but you can slow it down. Now, let me say this. I'm going to make a statement. Okay, this is really, really important when it comes, and you and I have talked about this for a long time. You know this. The world don't know this. One of the worst things about sugar is when man got involved in sugar. Okay? Because sugar plants. It's a plant. And in the 1950s, we were still eating too much sugar, but it was about 25 pounds a year. A big bag of sugar a year North Americans were eating. So we had cookies and ice cream, as I tell my grandchildren. Because they think, Grandpa, didn't you have that? Well, where do you think? I was born in the days of Noah? Yeah, Grandpa. Anyway. Okay? But what man did, what man did is he changed sugars. They went to high fructose corn syrup, which oxidizes a whole lot more than ordinary sugar. It ages in the mitochondria a lot worse than ordinary sugar does. And they went to the worst thing that high fructose corn syrup does, 10 times worse than ordinary sugar, glycates. I'm showing you the toast. Okay, got the vision of a well-toasted toast? A well-toasted piece of bread? Okay? Now, don't come after me because I got bread. This is sourdough. It's better. But if you... Okay? Man shall not live by bread alone. Right? Like, you know me. I'm very consistent. If you're on the Titanic, you and bread don't get along. If your A1C is above 5.4, you and bread don't get along. You just don't. Okay? And there's better breads, but. Okay? But. And it's a big but. You gotta avoid like the plague. Like, unless you're eating Rosie's bread. Okay? So, glucose causes problems. Okay? So we're talking about that. We're talking about down the road, short term and long term. The long term effects are oxidation and glycation. And fructose, 10 times more damaging when it comes to glycation. High fructose corn syrup is the fill in the blanks, guys, because you know this. High fructose corn syrup is the antichrist of sugars. The antichrist of sugars. Man-made sugar. Oh, we're smarter than God. We're going to make a sugar. It's cheap. It's addictive. We're going to hook people. The people from, I was telling this to someone the other day, the people from the tobacco industry got involved, put their money in the food industry. The addictive people, the addictive scientists that knew how to addict you with nicotine are now in, and they still are, in the food business. They're in the food business. And in the early 1980s, they created a sugar in a lab called high fructose corn syrup. And they couched it. And they call it all sorts of names. But they knew it was cheap. They knew it was addictive. They put it in Coca-Cola. They put it in Pepsi-Cola. They put it in they substituted sugar. And guys, sugar ain't great, as you know, but high fructose corn syrup is terrible stuff. It's in the cereals. It's the added sugar. And it's man-made, and it's a syrup. And what does that mean? Well, it's in the liquid. And that goes right to your liver, fructose, and we've explained that. It creates destruction throughout your body, and because it ends up in that liver. And it's the reason, more than anything else, guys, it's not calories. It's the reason that we have the Twin Towers. The Twin Towers. Diabesity. Why are people so big? Diabesity. That's why fructose. And then, think about it. Okay? Think about it. Oxidation plus glycation. Add the two together. You have that high fructose corn syrup creates free radicals. You have high fructose corn syrup that oxidizes. You have high fructose corn syrup that glycates. It attaches itself to protein. It glycates. And you know what happens? We age. And I like this term. Somebody put it out there. Infla-aging. Inflammation, aging. Okay? And you and I have talked about inflammation a lot. It's not the cause, but it's a byproduct. A lot of people think it's the cause of chronic disease. It's involved. But inflammation's not Houdini. There's a reason for it. Oxidation, glycation equals inflammation in the body. And that destroys what inflammation is meant to be temporary. Meaning you got a bug, you got a virus, your body creates heat to kill it. And you know, this is one of the reasons I don't like killing a fever. Why are you trying to bring a fever down? Let the body do its job. But if that process, the body's ambulance system, if it stays on, it should be turned off. But if it stays on, it becomes very destructive inside the body, to the joints, to the blood vessels. That's how you get atherosclerosis. Hardening of the arteries. It's inflammation. But it didn't start with inflammation. It started with either too much fuel, oxidation, or glycation, combination of the both. And the thing that you can control and the thing that I can control is what we put in our mouths every day. And this is why I'm always talking about that fuel. Change fuels. We live in a world where man has changed the flour. He's changed the sugar, right? He changed that. Well, we got to stay, we can, as long as we know it, we can make better choices. Okay. So short-term effects, we looked at. Long-term effects. And think about it. Like free radical damage and glycation have a big effect on chronic disease. Think of cancer. Think of Alzheimer's in the brain. Not just aging, but oxidation and glycation of the brain. Oxidation and glycation. You know what cataracts are? Cataracts are glycation of the eyes. It's sugar. Cataracts is glycation. It's toasting of your eyes. See, those are the chronic effects of a diet, guys. Okay. Okay. Get your questions in for a Q&A Friday, okay? We love those questions. We love those questions. And I am going to try and answer all of them, okay? Sometimes we need 2 days. And that's a good thing. Okay, we love that. Send your questions into info@martinclinic.com. Tell everyone about the Doctor Is In podcast. Tell everyone about our live, Facebook Live, the Doctor Is In Facebook Lives. Okay, if they can tune in live and they can become friends on Facebook, they can join with Kevin and others. Okay. We got about 25,000 people in the private Facebook group. What a family. People want to get together. Oh, I consider you my family, guys. Love you. Dearly and sincerely. We'll talk to you soon.